What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 12, Episode 9, Profiling 202. I'm not sure if that title is clever or dumb. Still trying to figure that out. Anyways, I have a little bit of a confession to make. I am the type of person who, whenever I'm looking up the episodes, I'm looking up, what is the title of the episode, what episode is it. I look on IMDb, and I do let the ratings sort of affect not my criticism of it, not, whenever I'm doing these videos, I don't let those numbers affect what I think of it. But going into it, it can affect my viewing experience. So whenever I looked at this episode and saw it got a 6.5, which is the lowest for the season so far. I mean, it hasn't been a great season on IMDb, but like I said, I don't really let that affect my criticism of it because, well, Supergirl gets like 8.0s, and honestly, I think that show has some really dumb episodes. So, yeah, I'm watching it, and I'm like, is it really that bad? And then all of a sudden, I find out the premise behind it. Apparently, the guy that Rossi was getting the names from on his birthday is involved. Apparently, he escaped during the breakout last season, and he's back to killing again. I'm like, how can this get a 6.5? Well, first, the thing with the class. That's where I started to see, okay, so yeah, there are some problems with this. I mean, why all of a sudden are they talking to the class? That doesn't make any sense in the sense of this is the middle of an investigation. Why would you take time out of your investigation to go talk to the class and get ideas that apparently you already have? They're asking them, okay, so what would you do next? Well, we talked to this person. Well, that's a great idea. We just did that. What else would you do? Well, we do this. Well, that's also a great idea. We also just did that. Why are you talking to them then? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you be talking to this class in the middle of your investigation? You should be focused on the investigation. So, okay, that's dumb. What else is going wrong with it? Well, as it's going on, I mean, I'm not minding the story at all. I think it's fairly interesting. I like Rossi, so seeing this story that involves mainly him is really fun, and they do a good job with it for the most part. I mean, the guy Tommy Yates, he's intimidating. He's also apparently trying to go out on a high note in his opinion. Trying to kill as many women as possible, trying to mess with Rossi because Rossi took away his control. Okay, that's good. But there's no real epic conclusion to it. We see him first. There's this scene where he's talking to the class about the way that he sort of does his little ritual, trying to figure out a case. And we see him doing this ritual. I'm like, okay, so is this him doing the ritual in the past or in the future? Well, I finally find out by the end of it that apparently this is in the future after the class because he figures out some stuff that they didn't know before. The fact that he's going to bury the final body somewhere close to him. And so as soon as he said somewhere close that would be right under his nose, I'm thinking his backyard. But apparently they didn't think of that first, so they're checking all these different places, and then Rossi, as he's about to leave to the office, is like, oh wait, maybe my backyard. And so he takes his gun, goes outside to his backyard, and then finds him. The guy threatens a girl with a knife, and then he shoots him, and then that's it. Okay, yeah, that's sure, I guess. He saved the girl's life, so that's a bonus, but is that really the most epic you could have made it? We know Rossi has a daughter and a grandson, and a kind of his former wife that's still, there's a bit of little interest in there. You couldn't think of anything more epic than the guy steals a random prostitute and then tries to kill her and bury her in Rossi's backyard, and Rossi just shoots him. That's about it. So all of the names of the girls that he buried are now gone forever, and he is dead, and it was just a shootout in your backyard with no real danger except maybe to the girl. I don't know. I don't like that, especially considering the way this episode started, which was Rossi, Prentice, and the new guy Steven they're talking to the class and they're showing them like a little virtual simulation thing where they're trying to show them, okay, how would you deal with this situation? There's a guy with a gun to a girl who's chained up to the ceiling. And so I guess one of the very first one for the students was, okay, just shoot him. And so I think in the simulation, Rossi took a shot. The guy's arm flails back. He shoots Prentice in the shoulder. He's like, see, now your teammate just got hurt. So that's not it. What else would you do? And, well, maybe play to his mother. And then they start talking to him in the simulation, oh, about the mother. And, of course, we're seeing the simulation with these three. Everybody else isn't seeing that, so I don't really know why there's the disconnect there. But they start saying, what, talking to him about the mother, and then all of a sudden the guy shoots the girl and shoots himself in the head. And then the final thing was, okay, play to his narcissism. And so they played to his narcissism, he set down the gun, and then that's it. And so I'm thinking, as we're getting to this final moment, I'm thinking, okay, that's going to come into play, right? Because Rossi knows so much about this guy, he knows so much about the profile, he knows what he has to do to not only make sure the unsub's still alive, but also save the girl's life, right? Right? Wrong. 100% wrong. Because guess what? Rossi just shoots him dead. Now the unsub is dead. There are several girls apparently that are still buried by him that we're never going to know about now. What was that first scene for again? I don't know. How could you take a premise like this, the guy that has been feeding Rossi names on his birthday for years, torturing him, escapes from prison, and now Rossi has to track him down as he's killing more women, and you go and botch it by adding this little class in, like you did for the last, when this guy got introduced the first time, which he's only been in 2 episodes, so why hasn't he been a bigger character? I mean, it sounds like he should be a bigger character. But there was a class in that episode, and now you bring in another class again. That one was more of a seminar, but actually this one was more of a seminar. I don't know. But either way, you've got Rossi talking to a group of people again, so same premise as the last one. And on top of that, you've got this little simulation thing that seems like it's setting up for something at the end that doesn't even work out in the end. And then on top of that, you just got this interesting story with all of these little things on the outside that are just kind of confusing and like, why are we talking to the students? That doesn't make any sense. Why have the students in it at all? Why couldn't it just be a Rossi-focused episode? It felt like we're already watching it through a screen of some sort. So we're already disconnected from it in that sense. But now, not only are we disconnected that way, we're also hearing about what's going on from another source. That makes us feel even more disconnected. Instead of just living this episode, going with Rossi through all of this stuff, at some parts, all of a sudden we're hearing Rossi tell about, oh, well, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. We're already disconnected. Now we're even more disconnected. I don't understand why they decided to do that. It wasn't effective. And it really hurt the episode. And on top of all of this, the biggest problem I have, which is not with the episode, it's with the show in general, the new guy sucks. I'm sorry. Nothing against the actor, nothing against whoever he is. I don't know who he is. But listening to him talk, I don't think I've ever heard so little emotion put into somebody's voice before. Like there's hardly any inflection in his voice. It's all about like this, and that's about it. And then he doesn't really talk. He doesn't really move very much. He just sort of stays like this. Like his voice is so uninteresting and boring, and on top of that, he hardly inflects. I'm just like, this is our new team member, guys. This is the new guy we have to listen to from now on. We've lost Hotch, we've lost Morgan, but we've got this guy now. At least, Luke Alves, at least he is somewhat entertaining. You can hear, first of all, you can hear the emotions that he projects. You can hear the inflections in his voice. you can see the little bit of sparring going on between him and Garcia because Garcia is seeing him as, oh, he's trying to replace Morgan. So that's been fun. And on top of that, he's a good actor. This guy, okay, not a bad actor, none of his emotions were poor, but it just sounds so monotone and his voice is not inflecting at all, and it kind of puts me to sleep. And I don't want that in this show. Some of the profiling stuff is already kind of boring to just hear it talked and talked and talked. So to add in this guy's voice, which is just so boring, it just makes it even worse. So, like I said, I try not to let the numbers. In fact, I don't let the numbers affect my opinion of it. But sometimes they do affect how I view a show. And whenever I go into it seeing a 6.5 and thinking, okay, so maybe my expectations need to be lowered a little bit, and I come out still feeling like this was a disappointing episode, even with my lowered expectations, yeah, there's something wrong here. They've got so many interesting things, and honestly, I don't want to, obviously, I know stuff goes on behind the scenes. I know there are some issues as far as Thomas Gibson and whatever happened with him. But Hotch leaving has really affected the show. It has not been nearly as interesting as it is with him on there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's just something about his character that adds something to the team. But yeah, it really does. The only good scene in this entire episode was the one between Emily and Rossi. Whenever she was talking to him about, she was trying to give him advice, and she ended up using his advice on him. And he was noticing that. That's about the only part of this episode that I enjoyed, because it was a good team moment. The rest of the team, I mean, hardly involved. JJ and Tara, they were hardly in it. Spencer's not in it anymore. I don't think we saw Garcia but for 2 scenes. Luke wasn't even in it. It was mainly Rossi, Prentice, and the new guy. And the new guy is just really not a good character. So, I hate it because I don't want to hate the show. I don't want to hate an episode of Criminal Minds because I've watched it for so long. And it's one of the few shows that I think has done well enough to keep my attention for this long. But now, it just feels like it's dropping off, and it's dropping off fast. It's not just like, oh, well, this episode was good, and then the next episode was just a little bit not good, but then this one was okay, but then this is like, it's been here for the past few seasons, then it dropped to here for last season, I would say, somewhere in here. There were a couple boring episodes, but the assassin stuff was awesome, so it was okay, it was good, and then this season just went, and it just keeps going down, and it doesn't stop. I want it to stop going down. So, those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know down in the comment section. Do you agree or disagree with me? Do you agree or disagree with me? I can't talk. Let me know. We can talk about, discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Criminal Minds reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.